Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Welcome to Tathastu ICS. My name is Pooja Sharma and I am going to take your DNA session for today. So let's see what news we are going to discuss today. Today is 3rd of February 2025. This is the QR code from where you can access the PDF files of these DNA sessions. Okay, so let's start. Which news are important today? Most of the news are related to budget only, because on 1st of February budget was presented in parliament, and obviously newspapers are going to cover what all was there in the budget. Okay, so from today onwards, from yesterday onwards, we could find so many articles and news related to the budget only. So again, budget is very important. So this week's newspaper is very important for you, those who are giving interview as well and those who are preparing for prelims as well. Okay, so let's see which news are important today. These are the new courses which are starting at Tathastu ICS. If any one of you are interested, please go through the details of this, and you can ask about the query in comment section as well. Now, these are the news which we are going to cover today. Out of these out of these four news, three are on your editorial only. The first is related to your budget only. What was all about budget? Okay, what was there in the budget? So there is an article is just saying that beyond tax cuts, we all know that this time there was a huge tax cuts. A person need not to pay any tax till their income is 12 lakhs. Okay? But again, the brackets are different from that. Again, so this is something which everyone knows about it, and this is something which is being highlighted, but there are other things also in the budget. So the person who, or the writer of the article, is just doing the assessment of the union budget this time, and he is saying that we need to have a closer read to the union budget as well, what all are there in the budget. So basically this article is a kind of a very small summary of your budget. Okay, so that you can understand what was there in the budget. Obviously you know about the tax cuts, but what else than that? The second is related to the Uttarakhand Uniform Civil Code. Under Uttarakhand's Uniform Civil Code, there is a provision on live-in relationships. Now the article is actually dealing with what all the provisions related to live-in relationship in Uttarakhand's Uniform Civil Code. First thing is that, and the second thing is that the article is actually assessing this particular provisions from Uttarakhand, that is it not the curb on the right to privacy of a person. Okay, so it is going against the right to privacy of a person, because you have to register your live-in relationship and your parents will be informed. So again, this article is actually doing the assessment of this particular provision by Uttarakhand. We are going to understand that why we are reading something that is related to a particular state, because we all know that Uniform Civil Code is being demanded by everyone, okay, at national level also, and Uttarakhand can be used as and can pave a way for the Uniform Civil Code in our country. Now, if a state is going to have some kind of provisions, there is highly likely that those provisions can be replicated at the national level. So we need to have a proper assessment of such kind of provision. So we are going to understand that. After that, we are going to know about the citizenship. Actually, this article is basically dealing with two parts. The one part is the US citizenship. We all know that the recent executive order of Donald Trump has put a hold, or just to put down, the US citizenship by birth. Obviously this particular executive order is being challenged. Okay, it will go into the Congress as well, and it will be challenged at the judiciary level of USA also. But this article is talking about, obviously article is going to deal about the US citizenship as well, but article is basically dealing about the citizenship that is in India. Okay, so we are going to understand this article for Indian point of view. Okay, what are the provisions there in our constitution or other act 1995, Citizenship Act. There are other Citizenship Act 2009 as well, Citizenship Act 2019 as well. So we are going to know about the recent Constitutional Amendment Act related to the Citizenship Act. So we are going to understand everything about that. So we are going to understand this article from Indian point of view. Okay. Now, because if the citizenship is a hot topic there at international level when it comes to the US citizenship, then obviously the citizenship which we gain in India is also an important topic for your UPSC's examination. Now, next is Trump's tariff could hit Canada, Mexico hard while China appears to be prepared. Now, this particular news is dealing with the tariff which is being imposed by the Donald Trump. Actually, Donald Trump has put to tariff. Tariff means, by tariff you can mean that it is a kind of tax on something which is being imported in a country. For example, it is USA. If USA want to import something from Canada, so USA is saying that no, there is no more free trade. We are going to put some tax. Okay, some tax on the goods which are going to come to USA. Similarly, if something is coming from Mexico also, they are going to put some kind of tax. That tax is actually known as tariff, you can say that. So Donald Trump actually had put tariff on Canada, on Mexico. Obviously he was talking about China from a very long time. So now the article is the news is dealing with how hard such kind of tariffs are going to hit Canada, Mexico and China. And the news is talking about that yes, it can actually hit hard Canada and Mexico, and it can actually lead to an economic slowdown condition in these two countries. But the China seems to be prepared, because China already knew that such kind of tariff cuts, such kind of tariff would be imposed on its Chinese items in USA. So China was already prepared on that. But the most of the 80% of the export of Canada goes to USA only. The same with the Mexico. Almost 85% of Mexican export is to USA only. And now such a large percentage of export is going to USA only. So we can say that these two countries are very much dependent on USA, and supply chain is so much integrated to each other. How such kind of tariff is going to impact the economy of Canada and Mexico? And we all know that at the international level, economies of each and every country is actually related to each other. It is interrelated. So it is not only these two countries which are going to be impacted by Donald Trump's this particular decision. It can actually impact the economy at the international level also, because if, for example, we knew that when there was a war going on, war is still going on in Ukraine, between Ukraine and USA, then the supply chain disruption happened. During the COVID also supply chain disruption happened. Because of that supply chain in India also we witnessed such a large inflation. So this is how something that is happening at the international level can impact the economy at our domestic level as well. So first of all, we need to understand what is going on at the international level, what is going on at the USA. Obviously the most hit countries are going to be the North American countries only. Obviously it's not going to impact that much India, but it can impact the global economy as such, and we are very much attached to global economy. So we will see how this is going to go forward. Some is saying that it is just Trump's tactic to negotiate with these two countries, especially Canada and Mexico, because he is not very happy about the illegal immigration and the drug trafficking from these two countries to USA. So it is seen as a mechanism to put pressure on these two countries so that they can deal with the drug trafficking and the illegal immigration to USA. So let's understand what all are there in the news. I have given you the brief. Let's understand each and every news in detail also. Now, let's come to our first article. First article is Beyond Tax Cut, a closer read to Union Budget. Why he is saying that? Armendu Nindi actually read this particular article. He is saying that, okay, everyone knows about the tax cuts. Tax cuts are there in this time. But again, tax cuts are good. Okay, it is not going to, it is going to put more money in the pocket of the middle class. Okay. So obviously their consumption power will increase. If the consumption of middle class is going to increase, they are going to purchase more. If the demand in the economy is going to increase, then definitely the production is going to increase. So GDP will increase. So this is how the employment will generate. So tax cut are a good thing. It is not something that is going to impact us, but obviously if there will be tax cut, we are going to be short of some kind of such a large fiscal amount as well. So let's understand what all was there in the Union Budget. This article is a kind of a summary of a Union Budget, what all is there. Okay, but it is a very small summary. Before, other than that, you need to read the budget also. Please go and watch budget speech also, and I am very hopeful that here at this platform also you will get a detailed analysis of union budget and economic survey. Now, so what is the context here? Now, context is the our finance minister presented the union budget on February 1st against the backdrop of the economic challenges. Which were the economic challenges which were dealing today? For example, taxes were very high at that point of time. No one was happy about the taxes. Unemployment is there. Obviously, recently we are facing so much unemployment, especially when it comes to middle class. Weak private investment. This is again we have discussed in our last session also. In India, the private investment is very weak, and even after we have gave more allocation to the capital expenditure. Even if putting more money into the capital expenditure, we could not boost the private investment in our country because of the repercussions of the slowdown which we faced during the COVID-19. Okay, so that's why there is a very weak private investment. So that's why in the last session we understood that what budget should contain, and one of the item was that we need to boost the private investment also. In our country, savings are okay, but investment is not boosting. So that is some kind of issue here. Again, the rising external vulnerabilities at the international level. There is so much external vulnerability we are seeing in the case of the coming of the Donald Trump also in USA. So it can actually hit hard. In the South China Sea also the issue is going on. The issue was there in the Middle East also. Issue is there in the Ukraine-Russia front as well. Other than that, a growing fiscal deficit. Our fiscal deficit was actually growing so much after COVID-19. During the COVID-19, our fiscal deficit was around 9%, which is a very high. Okay, according to FRBM Act, it should be 3%. Okay, and we should have zero revenue deficit. But our fiscal deficit should be 3%. But our fiscal deficit around during COVID time it was 9%, but it came down, and recently it was around 4.8 and 4.9%. Okay, so now the projection is there for the next year's projection is there. We need to put our fiscal deficit to 4.4%. Okay, so this is our target. Now, while the budget outlines the roadmap for Viksit Bharat, now where is the focus of the budget this time? Obviously, tax cut is one of the focus, but other than that, the focus was in agriculture, which is a welcome step. The focus was on the manufacturing, MSME, social welfare, and infrastructure. Again, everything that is somehow going to increase the purchasing power or the consumption pattern of the middle class. So these measures are going to boost the middle class only. So all of these are the welcome step. For example, if we are going to put more money in the agriculture, more scheme for the agriculture, then the agriculture sector will boost. Yeah, and that is going to be in favor of the economy only. Other than that, because the most of population is engaged in the agriculture only. The same with the manufacturing. Our manufacturing sector is not doing that great. Okay, its share in GDP is very less. Even the service sector GDP is better than the manufacturing's share in the GDP. So we needed to put more money into the manufacturing. Other than that, obviously MSME means micro, small and medium enterprises. Now the definition of MSME has also changed, which is going to be in the favor of the MSME only. MSME means small enterprises. Obviously, to generate employment, government cannot have all kind of government posts. You cannot generate the employment opportunity at government level. We need to have employment opportunity at private level as well, and we are actually promoting the small businesses. So MSME kind of covers the small business. Okay, so definition of MSME has changed, and this is going to boost the MSME sector only. So this sector was always has always been in the center of the policy making. Other than that, social welfare, again social welfare scheme, you can say that social security is going to get increased, and the infrastructure. Okay, so again manufacturing infrastructure, you can add these two in the manufacturing sector only. So now first understand the fiscal consolidation target. So what the budget has told about fiscal consolidation. What is the meaning of fiscal consolidation? By fiscal you mean anything related to the money and anything related to the government. Anything related to the government money is known as fiscal. For example, what is the meaning of fiscal policy? Your budget is a part of fiscal policy. Fiscal policy means what a government is going to do, what is the plan of the government. Okay, so that is known as fiscal policy. And what is the meaning of fiscal consolidation? If we are having some kind of issues related on the fiscal front of the government, then fiscal consolidation, you can say that it is the remedy of that. How can we consolidate our fiscal policy? That is known as fiscal consolidation. So we need to have some kind of steps, we need to take some kind of steps, we need to have a proper policy, so that we should not have a large amount of fiscal deficit, and we need to put money at the right place. So that is known as fiscal deficit, fiscal consolidation. Now the budget aims to reduce the fiscal deficit to 4.4% of GDP by financial year 2026. So this is the target. Okay, obviously it is not again at 3% of fiscal deficit target which we need to achieve, okay, according to the FRBM Act, but again 4.4 is a good projection. Other than that, so this data you need to remember actually. Okay, so I will tell you which data you need to remember. So this you need to remember. Okay, what is the budget's aim for the fiscal deficit of financial year 2026? You need not to remember the 25 also, plus, but please remember the 26 one. Again, achieving this depend on the, now the article is also saying that how can we achieve this? This we can achieve with ambitious revenue projections. Again, what are these projections? What is how revenue projections are related to the fiscal deficit target? Look, we want to reduce the fiscal deficit. You means the burden on the government. The government is short of the 4.4% of GDP. This much money when it comes to making fiscal policies. So it should not be that much. There should be some amount of fiscal deficit. Why fiscal deficit up to some level, up to 3%, you can say that it is good. It means the government is doing good. Government's revenue is less, but government's expenditure is more. Here, government's expenditure is short of 4.4% of GDP. So it should be 3%, which is saying that yes, government is doing something extra for the people. Now we are kind of ahead of not ahead, we are kind of behind of our fiscal target. How the revenue projection help out? A revenue projection is how much growth we are expecting in near future. Now the budget has a projection that we are going to grow, our tax revenue is going to grow 11.2%. This is the projection. If there will be more tax revenue, only then we can deal with the fiscal deficit, only then we can reach to the 4.4% of the target of the fiscal deficit, 4.4% of GDP of fiscal deficit. If we have more money, we need more money for that. How would we get that more money? Now, more money is revenue projection. It means we are going to increase our tax revenue. We are going to take more tax from the, it doesn't mean that you will see that we have done tax cut. How can we improve the tax revenue? By increasing our tax buoyancy. How can we improve? If we are going to improve the tax administration, if we can find out where the tax cuts are going on, then we can reach to this, we can increase our tax revenue. Other than that, we have projection that we are going to rise our income tax revenue at 14.4%. Okay, so again these are the projection by the union budget. This data you need to remember. What you need to remember? Someone is asking that please segregate the topics for UPSC from the Hindu. Obviously, which topic I am telling you on daily basis, those are the topics which are important for UPSC only. Okay, so all the topics are important for UPSC. There is no topic which is not important for UPSC in anyone's DNA session. Okay, again, but other plan is there. The government has this second asset monetization plan, okay, of 2025-30. So government is actually thinking that if we are going to have a better asset monetization plan this time, we are going to earn more money. Okay, we are going to earn more money, so there will be more revenue, so that we can deal with our fiscal deficit and we can reach this 4.4% target of GDP. But how can we increase our what is the meaning of asset monetization? Asset monetization means the assets of government. For example, there is a government asset. let's take a very simple example of Air India. Okay, Air India is government's asset. Now what government has done? Government privatized Air India, okay, some percentage of it. So when the government is privatizing Air India, obviously the someone who is going to purchase the Air India is going to give money to the government. So this is how government is going to, you know, earn money here. So government will get money by monetizing its assets. Okay, so why government is doing privatization? Because government think that if this is a win-win situation, government will earn money, first thing. The second thing is that the private companies have better chance, have higher chance to do better management at the, this is what the perception in the mind of people, that the private sector will do better when it comes to any kind of business. So that's why we do asset monetization. So asset monetization plan is not very new, it is a very old plan. You can mean that privatization of the government assets is known as asset privatization. This time they are saying that we have a different, okay, and better asset monetization plan, and we are going to earn more money. So this is the plan of the government, how they are going to achieve this particular target. I hope you understood what are the fiscal consolidation target of the government. First of all, the target is that by 2026 we are going to achieve fiscal deficit that would be 4.4% of our GDP. But how can we reach at that level? We need more money, government need more money. How government is going to earn that money? Government is saying that I am hopeful, but the government is hopeful that there will be 11.2% growth in the tax, okay, tax revenue, and under this only in income tax revenue they are hoping that there will be 14.4% rise. These data you need not to remember, you just need to remember what the government has done. Government is actually projecting that. Other than that, government has come up with the second asset monetization plan, through which our government is planning to earn more so that it can deal with its fiscal deficit. Now achieving this ambitious revenue target will, they need? They need tax buoyancy. It means how the it means percentage of change in GDP by the percentage of change in tax revenue. Again, it is a very important term from economic point of view. It means if your GDP is increasing, then your tax revenue should increase, right? It should increase proportionally. It should not be like that GDP of the country is increasing but its tax revenue is not increasing at all. If it is increasing and this one is not increasing, it means, what does it mean? Percentage change is more, but percentage changes tax revenue is not more. Matlab it is greater than 1. That is not good for an economy. It should be equal to 1. It means it should be proportional. The percentage change in tax revenue should be proportional to the percentage change in GDP. Again, this you need to remember. Okay, this is very important. UPSC can directly ask what is the meaning of that, so you should know that. Again, this is one of the way how can we have this ambitious revenue target. Another, efficient tax administration. If our tax administration is better, obviously we are going to fetch more money. Again, realistic asset monetization strategies to ensure that fiscal consolidation plan remains on track. Now these are the targets by the budget. Now what is the meaning of it? We need to execute it as well. Government has to do things. Government need to increase the tax revenue. Other than the government need to have a better asset monetization plan. So execution is very important. Everything will be dependent on execution, not only on projections. Now, other than that, tax relief versus revenue loss. Now article is also talking about that during this in this new tax regime, we exempted incomes up to 12 lakh and lower tax burden across income groups. Okay, so we decrease the income tax. That is okay, very good for the middle class only, but obviously it is going to boost income but cost 1 lakh crore rupees loss in the revenue revenue of the government. Okay, so government is going to lose 1 lakh crore of revenue because of this particular introduction. Now article is saying that with household saving declining to 18.4% of GDP, which is very less. Okay, in financial year 2023 our household saving was very less. The long-term sustainability of these tax cut is questionable, that you don't have saving. Other than that, you are going to lose 1 lakh crore rupees because you are going to exempt the income up to 12 lakh per year. So the actually article is worrying about it, that how we are going to achieve that. So tax relief is there, but along with tax relief there is going to be a revenue loss as well. Again, article is talking about what else is there in the union budget. Ma'am, what factors increase the GDP of a country? Production in an economy is going to increase the GDP of a country. What is the definition of GDP? Gross domestic product. Domestic product, we need to produce more. How? Why would we produce more? Why any factory? Let's say a very small factory. Why a factory is going to produce more? If there is more demand. And how there will be more demand? If people will have money in their pocket, right? So we need to put money in the pocket. How the people will get money? If there is more employment. How there will be more employment? If there are more businesses. Okay, so this is, you know, circle. Everything is cyclic nature. Economy is very cyclic in nature. More production, more employment. How will we get more employment? More businesses, more employment, more money in the pocket of middle class, and the more demand, it means more production, it means increase of the GDP. If business are going to boost, then our GDP is going to boost. So this is very simple term. How can we increase the GDP of the country? Again, manufacturing push. So there is a talk about the manufacturing also in this year's budget. Now India's manufacturing sector contributes only 17% of GDP. This as per this year's economic survey. This is something that you need to remember. Okay. So such kind of data you need to remember. So the share of manufacturing is just 17% to GDP. Again, the priority sector, the PLI scheme have shown partial success. Scalability remain concern. This is also the issue. Another than that, measures like enhanced MSME credit and national manufacturing mission aim to improve ease of business, and they are going to promote clean. They are actually talking about what budget has done. So they have actually enhanced the MSME credit, first of all. Second, the national manufacturing mission is there. Other than that, we have revised the classification of MSME. This is very, very important. Okay, those who are seeking a DNA session in Hindi medium, this time, at 10 only, on the daily basis, Shivani ma'am takes Hindi DNA at Tathastu ICS Hindi channel. Okay, so Sagar, you can go there, you can watch that session also, right? So this is my suggestion to you. So at this time only, at the same time, this time you can go to the Tathastu ICS Hindi channel. There will be a DNA session in Hindi medium. Okay, so please explore that also. Again, revised MSME classification. So what is the revised MSME classification? This is very, very important. Now, this is the revised MSME classification. We all know that what is the meaning of MSME? Micro, small and medium enterprise. So, there are micro, small and medium enterprise. So, there is a definition of these three. Why we define these three in differently? Okay, medium enterprises, you can say the medium businesses. It means if there is a micro enterprise, definitely there will be so much tax relief to a particular enterprise. Along with that, it is very easy for them to take loan for their manufacturing sector. Manufacturing, not only manufacturing, in services also we can have MSMEs. So they can take loan very easily, and there is not much tax burden on that. So they will get lots of benefits of that. Because of that, this is the why we divide or why we define micro, medium and small, micro, small and medium enterprises. Now, the definition depends on two things. One is investment and third one is turnover. What is the meaning of investment? Means, for example, you are starting a business. For starting a business, you need some kind of investment. So how much investment you are going to put On the basis of that investment, it will be defined, your enterprises will be defined that it is micro or it is small or it is medium. Other than that, turnover means yearly how much you are finally earning. Okay, turnover means everything, how much finally you are earning without cutting the investment you have put in that. So the definition of MSME depends on two factors. One is investment, another one is turnover, and government revise it on a daily basis. For example, currently right now a micro enterprises is that which actually invest 1 crore up to 1 crore rupees and turnover is 5 crore rupees. This is the current definition, but we have revised it in this budget. Now if you are investing 2.5 crore, these are in crore rupees, and your turnover is 10 crore rupees, it means your investment is up to 2.5 crore. It means if you have invested 10 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crore, up to 2.5 crores, your enterprise, your business will be known as micro business or micro enterprise. Similarly, obviously your investment will be less, your turnover will be more. Your turnover is 10 crore, then again you will be considered as a micro enterprise. So this is the definition. Other than that, the small enterprise. Small enterprise is that if your investment is up to the current definition, let's understand the current definition only. If your investment is up to 25 crore, but your turnover is up to 100 crore. If turnover is in between 10 to 100 crore, for example, if your turnover is 20 crore, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 and 100, till 100, you will be considered as small enterprises. Your business will be considered as small enterprises. And what is the definition of the medium enterprises? If investment is 125 crore rupees and turnover is 500 crore rupees, it means if your investment is up to from 25 crore to 125 crore. So there is a bracket, you can understand it like that. Let's understand, this is investment. For example, investment, this is 2.5 crore, this is 50 crore and this is your 125 crore. So if your investment is up to in between this bracket, then you will be considered as, your business will be considered as micro. If your investment is between this 2.5 crore to 50 crore, 2.5 crore to 15, 2.5 to 25, then you will be considered as small. But if your investment is in between this bracket, okay, 25 crore to 125 crore, okay, 25 crore to 125, then you will be considered as a medium enterprises. This is the case of investment. What is the case of turnover? If your turnover is up to 10 crore, then you will be considered as micro. If your turnover is till 100 crore, in this bracket, if you have your turnover, then you will be considered as small. If your turnover is between 100 crore to 500 crore, okay, in this bracket, if you have your turnover, then your enterprise will be considered as a medium enterprise. This definition is very, very important, okay. This time UPSC can exactly ask you question based on this. So this slide is very important. Please, remember it. Remember this slide, no matter what. Now the article is saying that yes, we have revised the classification of MSME. Actually, it is 2.5 times higher than the previous investment and turnover limit both. Okay. Now, double turnover threshold. It may help, but challenges like infrastructure gap. We don't have infrastructure. Again, low research and development and regulatory inefficiency, they can actually affect the MSME. Yes, we have revised our definition, but we need to do more in that. Now, this we have already done. Now, what all is there about the agriculture? So the Prime Minister's new scheme is there, Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana. Okay, and there is another scheme, National Mission on High Yielding Seeds, so that we can focus on improving the agriculture given the climate change, because if climate change is there, climate change is going to impact the crops. So we need to have crops which are climate resilient, means they can change therefore as per the change in the climate. So that's why we need some kind of seeds which are high yielding seed. Other than that, Kisan credit card loan limit has increased from 3 lakh to 5 lakhs. You can take actually loan on your Kisan credit card. Now the loan amount has increased to 5 lakhs. This you need to remember. This also you need to remember. Other than that, the shift from the blanket subsidies, now there is no blanket subsidies. Instead of that, we are going to focus on the low productivity districts. Okay, so we are going to focus more on those districts in our country which are giving low productivity. So it is not a blanket subsidy. Blanket subsidies are never beneficial when it comes to agriculture sector. We need to focus on those districts which are giving low productivity, because in some area in our country there are high productive. For example, productivity, if you talk about the Punjab and Haryana area, but the productivity in the Vidarbha region is not that great. So we need to focus more on the Vidarbha, less on the Haryana and Punjab when it comes to agriculture sector. Other than that, however, budget fails to address market inefficiency and price volatility when it comes to agriculture. Market is very inefficient. Okay, we have APMC Act, but still our market is not that efficient. Other than that, there is a high price volatility as well. Other than that, agriculture export. Okay, we need to export our agriculture. This is how we are going to boost the income of our farmers. But this time also budget did not focus much on the agriculture export. What can we export? Especially we can export actually millet and the organic farming products, because they are in high demand, especially in the western countries. So we could have done more when it comes to the export in the agriculture, but we did not do much about it in this year's budget. Other than that, let's understand the export strategy in the budget. So in the budget, obviously the IT and BPO service export continue to grow at 12.5 CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, but India's export base remain very narrow. What is BPO? It is business process outsourcing. Look, we all know that what we are exporting. We actually export our IT professionals, especially which are working in India. They are working for the companies outside. Most of you, if you are working in the IT sector, you all know that in India the companies come here and they employ people from India, but they work for the company that is outside India. So business process outsourcing, so that is a kind of outsourcing. A company that is in America that outsource IT professionals from India. Okay, they put some kind of subsidiary in India, and from India they operate the IT sector. So this is we are actually number one when it comes to the export of our country. We actually do good when it comes to information technology or BPO services. Okay, so it is already going to increase only, but the issue is that our export base remains very narrow. It means we have only a narrow kind of services which we export. We can actually improve it. We can improve our base of export. Right now our export base, we actually export very few services and very few goods. What we need to increase? We need to increase the types of goods and services which we can actually export. So that was something required in the budget. Other than that, Bharat trade net and export credit for MSME are useful, but it lacks scale to tackle trade deficit. Other than that, budget missed an opportunity to boost high value exports in pharmaceutical, electronics and renewable energy. This we could actually have done, but we did not do that. So according to the article, in this time the export strategy in the budget was not that great. Next, what are the green energy initiative which has been taken in the budget? For example, there is incentive for lithium ion battery. Why we need lithium ion battery? To improve our EV vehicles, electric vehicles. If we want to boost our electric vehicle, if we want to go to the renewable part of energy, because climate change is there, so we need lithium ion battery. Recycling, duty exemption on critical minerals, very important for us. We have discussed so many times the critical minerals. And the domestic solar manufacturing aim to reduce import dependence. So these are the incentive which is given. Okay, why we want to do the recycling or lithium ion battery? Because lithium is again one of the critical one of the critical mineral, right? And lithium ion is very important for our lithium ion batteries, which are going to be used in our electric vehicle. Now what government is going to do, government wants to recycle it, so that we need not to be very much dependent on China for lithium. However, without strong investment in grid modernization, storage energy sector and industrial decarbonization, India's transition to low carbon energy economy will be very slow. This is what is being talked by this particular article. Now article is saying that budget is a good budget, but budget has missed so many things. For example, budget has missed how to balance private sector growth with inclusive development. Yes, we need to boost our private sector, but for private sector we need to give more money to the capital expenditure. But if we are going to do more capital expenditure, we will be short on revenue expenditure. Why do we need revenue expenditure? For our social sector schemes. So if we want to have inclusive development, it will always going to be against our private sector growth, but we always need to balance it. So but this time the budget did not balance between these two, which was expected from budget. Other than that, the budget did not know how to boost consumption without undermining saving. Look, if the people are going to save more in their bank accounts, they are not going to spend on the items. But an economy, saving and investment both are very saving and consumption both are very important. Okay, for example, if you earn 1 lakh rupees, okay, out of 1 lakh rupees you are spending only 50,000, and 50,000 you are using as your savings. What government wants, obviously saving is important, but the government wants you consume more as well, because you should take some money from that 50,000 of your saving, and you should go to the market and you purchase things, you increase the demand. Only if you are going to increase the demand, you are going to increase your consumption, then there will be more demand and there will be more production in the economy. But this time what is happening? Government is not actually balancing. How can we balance saving and consumption? What we are doing, government is actually putting more pressure on consumption part. Government is saying we need to boost consumption because the economy is going to grow by that. But the economy is the budget is not focusing more on the saving part. So we need not to undermine our saving because we want to boost the consumption. But we need to put more money, we need to produce more in that way. Okay, we need to have more consumption in such a way so that the saving is not going to be harmed. I hope you understand what is the relationship between consumption and saving. If you have certain amount of money, you can either consume it or you can save it. Okay, these are the two parts. If you are going to save it, it is good for you, but if you are going to consume it, it is good for the economy as a whole. Again, how to accelerate growth while maintaining macroeconomic stability. This is also the budget missed at this point of time. Now, the success of these policies will depend on efficient execution. Obviously, this is not the only thing which we require. The budget has so much ambitious targets, but how can we achieve those targets? We need to execute those targets which have put in this time budget. Okay, so this was about the kind of a very brief summary of this time's budget. Now come to our next article. Now, so this article is actually about the live-in relationship clause that is in Uttarakhand's Uniform Civil Code. So what about it is? So what is the context here? Context is that Uttarakhand's Uniform Civil Code actually passed last year in February 2024, and it is going to get implemented on January 27, 2025, means it has been implemented from this 27 January onwards only. So what is all there in this particular live-in relationship clause? Actually, it requires mandatory registration of live-in relationship at both the beginning of a relationship and the termination of a relationship. So actually they made the live-in relationship very difficult. Okay, so this applies not only to the Uttarakhand residents, it is applied to anyone who are residing in Uttarakhand. For example, if a person from Delhi but they are living in Dehradun and they want to live in a relationship, they have to register themselves as well. So it is not only about the people of Uttarakhand, obviously they have to do it, but it is for anyone who is going to live in Uttarakhand. So the rules are going to be effected at January 27, and they impose strict documentation and penalties as well. So let's understand what all is there. First of all, critique argue that the mandatory registration is going to violate the privacy under Article 21 of the Constitution, which we acquired in the KS Puttaswamy case. Now, what is the registration process here? Only unmarried. First of all, they has to be unmarried. Second, heterosexual couple. It is not for the couples of LGBTQ community. Okay, it is not for that. Again, we can say that it is discriminatory in the first place. Again, registration can be done online and offline as well, and it requires actually 16-page form you have to fill before going into a live-in relationship. Okay, it is a kind of a discouragement of such kind of practices. What kind of documents you require? You need photographs, PAN card, Aadhaar card linked to phone number, and proof of residence also. And if a partner is between 18 to 21 old, okay, either male or female, then they must provide their parents' Aadhaar number and address as well. Okay, other than that, they need to, the registrar can notify, the registrar must notify the parents and guardians about the initiation of a relationship and termination of a relationship also. It means if someone is trying to have a live-in relationship in Uttarakhand, then definitely they need to register it. Okay, if they are going to register it, that the registrar is going to give this information to your parents and guardians also. So this is about the registration. Now, is relationship history relevant? Article is just actually asking it, why they are asking about the relationship history. Now the law treat live-in relationship similar to marriage. The first issue is that why we are considering such relationship equivalent to marriage. Marriage is mandatory for a couple to register their marriage, because marriage is something that is legal. It is not very easily to be done, easily to be broken. But how can we equate the live-in relationship with marriages? So first issue is related to that only. The second is couple falling under the prohibited relationship. They need to get approval from the religious or community leader. So what is the meaning of prohibited relationship? Actually, prohibited relationship is a word that is mentioned in the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955. Okay, so what kind of relation? For example, if there is a relation in which the couple is related by blood, so that relation is known as prohibited relation. Even in the Hindu Marriage Act, it is not very much possible, to have a marriages between the relatives. Okay, it is not in Hindu Marriage Act, not in the Muslim Marriage Act, in Hindu Marriage Act. So it is not allowed. But if some and it is blood by blood, it not only mean relatives, it is the same gotra also. Okay, if somehow the lineage is same, if somehow your ancestral lineage is same, so that relationship will be considered as prohibited relationship under Hindu Marriage Act also. Okay, but that actually depend on the community per community. But the same provision is there in this live-in relationship clause as well. Again, we are equating it with the marriage. We are putting the same prohibitions which are there in the marriage, in the Hindu Marriage Act, the same kind of prohibitions we are putting in the live-in relationship clause also. So we are actually giving more authenticity to it. Other than the couple must disclose their details of previous relationship also and their current status also, right? So why, the article is saying that is it very necessary? Should they put everything in that registration form, that how many previous relationship? Even during the registration of marriage, the government doesn't ask about the previous relationship, but in the live-in relationship registration, they need to give the history of the previous relationship also. But previous relationship means they were single or they were married, divorced, annulled, separated or widowed, okay, in some kind of relation. That kind of relationship status they need to give. Other than that, what about housing? Now the couples already living together, they first of all they need to provide the proof of their living together. For example, they need to put the electricity or the water bill. If the accommodation is rented, so they need to give the details of landlord also, or registrar must verify the landlord's detail. Other than that, couples not yet living together, they need to get a provisional certificate and found a house between 30 days and maximum by 45 days. They need to find a house only. Other than that, the landlord's obligation is also there. They need to must verify provisional and final. It means if a landlord wants to give, you know, someone a couple the house on a rent to a couple, then the landlord need to verify the final registration certificate. Only if you have the certificate, only then the landowner or landlord can give the house on rent. Again, if there will be any kind of non-compliance, then even a landlord can face penalties. Okay. Other than that, what kind of penalties? If a couple fail to register within a month of their living together, then they can actually face civil as well as criminal penalties. So they can go to the jail up to 3 months, and there can be fine of 10,000 rupees also. If they are going to provide any kind of false information, then they can go to jail again for 3 months imprisonment and 25,000 rupees fine. Again, registrar can issue compliance notices if a relationship is unregistered. Other than that, false complaint, if someone is complaining false, then there will be a fine also. So this is something that is actually good. Other than that, now what have the experts said? So this is all about what was there in this particular clause of Uttarakhand's living relationship. But now the issue is that what the experts are saying about that. First of all, experts are saying it is actually going against the right to privacy. The rule allow the third party access to the personal data, first of all, risking increased risk of social surveillance. Second, lack of data protection, no penalties for the third parties if private data is leaked. Okay. Third, disproportionate impact. For example, if there is an interfaith or intercaste couple, then definitely they are going to face more social scrutiny and risk. Okay. Definitely. So such kind of clauses is okay. It is there to make it to formalize the living relationship our country, but we need not to have that kind of such stringent rules and regulation related to that. Okay, regulation can be necessary, but not that kind of strict penalties, rules and regulation, because if those rules and regulation will be there, then such kind of issues we are going to face in the society. Okay, so we need to balance out the things. So this was about that system. Now let's come to our next article. Next article is actually related to the legal systems under which citizenship is acquired. Actually, this article in the first 2 paragraphs is talking about the USA's citizenship. In the last 2 paragraphs, it is talking about the India's citizenship. So we will focus more on the Indian part. First, what is the story here? The story is here the US President Donald Trump issued executive order stating that UN citizenship will be there only for the children whose parents hold US citizenship or they have some kind of USA's green card. First, so but what are the legal principles there? There are 2 kind of legal principles. First is related to the right of soil and second is related to the right of blood. What is the meaning right to soil? It means a person will get citizenship if that person is being born on that particular soil. Here the right of blood means a person will get citizenship if he is related to the people who were the citizen of that particular country. So in India we actually follow just sanguines, means right of blood. So the country like Egypt, South Africa, Germany and India follow this system. Earlier we used to follow right of soil system, but now we are following right of blood system. But in countries like USA, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, they actually follow right of soil concept. Okay. So right now this was there in USA, this system, but Donald Trump is saying that they want to shift to this part. Now, what about the citizenship in India? Now, Indian citizenship laws are governed by the Citizenship Act of 1955. So what all is written there? First of all, before June 1987, till June 1987, India actually followed the just solely principle only. It means anyone born in India was granted automatic citizenship like the USA, and India also changed it like USA is changing right now. But between 1987 to December 2004, at least one of the parent, okay, a person who is born, a child which is who is born in India, if one of the parent is Indian, then the person was granted India's, the child was granted India's citizenship. But they changed it in 2004. Now from 2004, December 2004, the both of the parent should be the citizen of India if they want to take the citizenship of India. Okay, actually this provision was added. Why this the both parents must be Indian citizen? Why this clause was added here? It was added to curb the illegal migration from Bangladesh, okay, in 2004. So this is the status of citizenship in India. So in India, citizenship by birth was there till 1987. This is something which is very important point from your prelims point of view also, that did we have the citizenship by birth in India as well like we had in the USA? Yes, till 1987 in India also citizenship by birth was allowed, but then between 1987 to 2004, only one parent if only one parent is a citizen of India, then the child would become a citizen. But since 2004, the both parents should be citizen of India if a child want to have a India citizenship. I hope you understand this part. But now the topic is the article is also talking about the Citizenship Act of 2019, that is CAA. It is the same CAA on against which there were so many protests going on just before COVID came. Okay, I hope you all remember that. But about what all is there in this Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019, actually it provides a fast track citizenship to Hindus, Christians, Sikhs and Jains. Okay, so these people from these four religions who are living in these three countries, sorry, not four, Buddhist and Parsis also. So all kind of minority, all kind of religion which are there in our neighboring countries except Muslims, okay, except Muslim, all kind of minorities there. Hindus means minority in Afghanistan or Pakistan, Christians, Sikhs, Jain, Buddhist and Parsis. If the people from these communities are there in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, and they have entered India before 31st December 2014, okay, due to religious persecution, then they will get the fast track citizenship. It means they don't even require, okay, any kind of proof that they were religiously they were prosecuted there. Okay, they were religiously prosecuted there. The thing is that if there is a Hindu family living in Afghanistan or Pakistan and they entered India before 2014, then they can easily get India's citizenship. But if there are Rohingya Muslims, okay, because Rohingyas are Muslim from Myanmar, if they have entered our country before 2014, then they will not get India's citizenship. Other people can get. If a Buddhist from Myanmar is coming to India or has come to India before 2014, they will get India's citizenship. And the beauty is that they need not to give any kind of proof that they were religiously persecuted in their country. Other than that, Muslims are excluded. The thing is that marking this is the first instance where religion has been a criteria in the citizenship. So in Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019 only we have seen that citizenship criteria was given to the people of our neighbor country. Okay, they have given chance to gain India's citizenship, but it was based on excluding a particular religion. So this was the first time in the history of India. That's why there were so many protests going on against this or to put down this Citizenship Amendment Act. Critics argue that CAA violates the secularism in our country, a fundamental part of India's constitution. Other than that, government defended that it is a protective measure for religious minority which are facing persecution in our neighboring countries. Okay. Other than that, Supreme Court actually is going to finally decide the constitutional validity of this act, but it is still there. Meanwhile, the government must ensure the implementation does not create any hardship of India's Muslim citizens because there were so many outrage against this particular amendment act at that point of time. So this is all about the latest amendment act of Citizenship Amendment Act in our country. Again, all these points were very, very important. Let's come to our last article, last news, that is related to the Trump tariff could hit Canada, Mexico hard while the China appears to be prepared. It means it can affect the Mexico and Canada, but it is not going to affect China as such because China was already prepared about it. Okay, let's understand the news in brief. First of all, the US President has imposed a tariff 25% on Canada and Mexico and additional 10% on the goods from China. So you can say that the Donald Trump has put a tariff on countries such as Canada, import from the countries such as Canada, Mexico and China. These tariffs are expected to disrupt the supply chain all over at the global level. Again, it is going to increase the cost across the various industries from automobile to agriculture. Again, supply lines between the three North American neighbors who share a trade agreement also. There is already a trade agreement between Mexico, USA and Canada. Even after that trade agreement, the Donald Trump has put such kind of tariff. Now, fresh tariff is going to complicate the businesses, which is going to have a footprint across all the other countries of the global, at the global scenario. Now, 80% of Canadian export go to the US. Okay, this you need not to remember. Other 84% of Mexico's export goes to US. So these two countries where the major exports are going to USA only. So definitely the economy of these countries is going to hit hard by this 25% tariff to these two countries. Other than that, tariff is going to hit automobile and electronic sector because at the border of the US and Canada, the automobile industry is very much linked to each other. For example, at some place the tires of a particular car is getting manufactured, and across the border some other part of a car is getting, some part is getting manufactured. So if there is going to be a crossing of these items from one border to another border, they are going to cross many a times. So so they are going to put more and more tariff on that part. So the cost of automobile will get increase at very large extent. Again, other than that, agriculture imports from Mexico and Canada, for example, the avocados and tomatoes are coming to USA from Mexico and Canada. So these kind of agriculture products are going to be very costly in USA. So these will be the impacts. What will be the other impacts? Trump actually invokes some kind of an emergency economic power which the president of USA have, citing failure of Canada and Mexico. While Trump has done that, Trump is saying that because Mexico and Canada are not doing anything related to the illegal immigration and drug trafficking, that's why Donald Trump has done it. Some sees it is as a negotiation tactic ahead of 2026 USMCA review. USMCA is a trade agreement between these three countries, Mexico, Canada and USA. Now because Donald Trump wants to have its, have a better negotiation at this meeting, that's why some people are saying that it is just a negotiation tactic so that the Canada and Mexico adhere to what Donald Trump is saying at this meeting. Other than that, obviously retaliatory tariffs are also there from Mexico and Canada, which is going to push the economic recession in these countries. Other than that, US also risk a mild economic slowdown turn. In USA, it is not only going to impact Mexico and Canada, it is going to impact USA also. Again, investors are facing uncertainty because if such kind of drastic changes or drastic decisions are there at the economic level, we all know that the trade market is going to get fluctuate because of that. So there will be high uncertainty. This is going to cost to the Americans only. Now, how is it going to impact China? Now, article is saying that analysts believe that the tariff is not going to severely impact Chinese economy because they already, factored in the possible tariff increase. We already knew that the Donald Trump is going to increase the tariff. However, a prolonged US-China trade war, if the trade war is going to go beyond a certain level, it is going to impact everyone at the global level only. China's Ministry of Commerce actually plan to file a lawsuit at the World Trade Organization against this particular decision of Donald Trump. But we all know that right now WTO is kind of a redundant organization. There is no dispute mechanism level body. So again, it is not going to be a very fruitful for China as well. So let's see what is going to happen, how the Donald Trump decision is going to impact the global scenario. Let's do some questions. The first question is related to Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019 only. Let's read the statements. The first is the Citizenship Amendment Act provides fast-track citizenship to persecuted religious minority from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh who entered India before 2014, December 31st, 2014. This statement is correct. Yes, this statement is very much correct. The second is the act applies to all religious minority including Muslims, Sikh, Indian citizen. Is it correct? No, obviously the Muslim minority is excluded. It is excluded only. Other than that, it requires applicant to prove religious persecution as a condition for obtaining citizenship. Is it so? No. This is also not required. You need not to provide any proof that you were religiously persecuted in your country to gain the citizenship of India, because it is very difficult to provide the proof of religious persecution. That's why this particular element was not added in the CAA 2019. So what will be the answer here? Anyone? Yes, yes, A will be the answer here. Let's do another question. So it is about the new definition of MSME. This particular question you can get in your examination, very very important. An enterprise with an investment of rupees 2 crore and a turnover of 8 crore, it will be classified as micro enterprise. You will tell me. Little tricky question it is, but you will tell me. The second, an enterprise with investment of 20 crore and a turnover of 90 crore will be classified as small. Another, an enterprise with 100 crore and turnover 400 crore will be classified as a medium enterprise. So what will be the answer? You tell me. Nobody is saying D. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. B. No, Mamta, it's not B. All three statements are actually correct. If you look at the definition, you will see. Because what is the definition of micro? Okay, what is the 2.5 crore to till 2.5 crore should be investment, and up to 10 crore should be your turnover. So 8 crore is less than 10 crore and 2 crore is less than 2.5 crore. So this statement is correct. The same with the other statement also. No, it is not maximum. So it is up to 10 crore. So just before, okay, if there is an amount below 10 crore also, they will also be considered as a micro enterprise. So this was the only trick here. Yes, D is the correct answer. Yes, you are very much right. No, A is not the answer. D is the answer. Please read the answer again and then you answer it again. Yes, yes. Truthful factory, all are correct. You are very much right. You are very much true. Okay. So this was all about today's the Hindu analysis. I hope you are going to read newspaper also after that. Those who are giving prelims, it's the high time you start, studying or focus on your prelims part as well. Okay, do as many questions as possible. That is going to make you prepare for the examination. Okay, so thank you so much. Have a very nice day.